Yo, greetings! I am Admiral WarBot's. So I decided to just go ahead and quickly go over some of the cool and key aspects of the IGN interview with Chris Kwan, the executive producer of Mecha BREAK. I normally was not going to be as excited for Mecha BREAK because I was afraid that this is going to be a free-to-play game with gacha. Was also worried about the pay-to-win aspect, and in this interview, pretty much 99% alleviated my worries, and I'm super excited to really get into this game. And of course, since I'm a big Mecha fan, I do definitely need to try this out because I played the beta, I was blown away, I loved it, and I was very angry too that this should have been the Gundam game that we should have had, but you know what? This is all good anyway. Let's go on, let's get to it. So, what did they talk about? Well, I want to get one thing out of the way. They did not confirm a release date, but things are cooking. So they are taking feedback on the previous tests. The one thing that they definitely, and I was happy that they mentioned it, was mods cannot be earned in 6v6 normally. Since that can't happen, mods will not be active in 6v6 PvP. So 6v6 PvP will remain a competitive mode. Next, we are not going to be just starting out with the single Alisness mech. So they're going to give us a total of 12 mechs to start out at the very beginning, which is great because one of the issues during matchmaking was if no more than one model of a mech can be active on one team. So if you only had the beginner mech, you were just assigned a random mech that you may have had no experience with, and you really couldn't change. So that's good. So a lot more variety, great, and 12 is a great place to start. All right, next, they also wanted to talk about the tutorial and player onboarding process. They did receive feedback that players felt it was too long, but they also did see that like a lot of players stated that they already went through it multiple times. They played it again during each test, so they get why some people felt that like they just wanted to get straight to the PvP action, which is very understandable. So they're going to go ahead and actually allow for skipping of the tutorial, but they didn't say like the entire tutorial, but just skip parts of it. So you can probably skip the initial, learn how to move, learn how to jump, and all that fun process. But I think they may want to keep the narrative parts of it because there is good opportunity to have like a single player campaign that players can work through. Co-op also is a great opportunity as well. So definitely looking forward to that. And if they somehow get a PvE like co-op mode into this, that's already more than what Overwatch is doing. Way to go, Overwatch 2. Way to go, Blizzard. All right, moving on. Next, Chris also addressed some of the feedback on hangar exploration. So he went over like, yeah, we wanted to have players to have the ability to do more in their hangars. He mentioned a couple of instances where players mentioned, hey, I wanted to get a soda from a vending machine, and they're like, oh yeah, we can possibly think about doing that. And he also hinted at maybe allowing players to climb on top of their mechs for some nice photographic opportunities as well. So I think that would be an amazing addition as well. And possibly maybe we can, I don't know, decorate our hangars and rooms. That'll be kind of cool. Monetization opportunity there. Hint, hint, wink, wink. All right, moving on then. So after that, Chris did mention that they are working on more 6v6 maps, new modes, as well as new mechs, of course. When speaking of working on new mechs, they are also working with several workshops. It looks like they are workshops that are located close to them to basically start making models for the Mecha BREAK mechs. Now, he didn't specify kits. I want to assume that they are probably model kits because if you during the interview, we did see that he had this massive collection of Gunpla and like other mecha model kits that looks like he built himself. Some other things that he did also mention as well was that he wasn't too sure that the Mashmac Battle Royale style like open world game mode was going to be popular. and he was very happy that people really liked it, the exploration aspect of it, as well as, like, you know, the slower paced PvP versus the 6v6 quicker action PvP. Now, the one thing I do hope they address is weapon balancing, because the beam autocannon was extremely dominant in Mecha BREAK. And lastly, he did mention about esports as well. So before he had the big invitational during the beta, he also mentioned that they had sort of like a behind closed doors sort of like invitational to some of the top Japanese and Chinese competitive teams. And he asked them feedback like how to create a good, healthy esports environment. So let's hope that, you know, things really pick up. And I do hope that this becomes a great competitive franchise to a lot of mechas out there, like Gundam, like Macross. All right, cool. And that's about it, guys. I hope everyone found this interesting. So again, we do not know when they are going to be dropping the release date. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. This is WarBot's, signing out.